This is AV SuperFriends Perspectives, a collection of interviews, discussions, and presentations from conferences, trade shows, and events that just don't fit either of the other two shows. Some are long, some are short, but they'll all have valuable insights, useful information, or just good conversation with thought leaders and subject matter experts. And now, the AV SuperFriends.
Hey everybody, this is Jamie and I'm at InfoComm 2025, and one of our Perspectives recordings today, I stopped by this cool little booth that's asset management for higher ed. And it's something that I've been looking for, and I'm trying to investigate around, and I stopped in and I talked to Andy for a little bit about Empirical Systems product. And so, Andy, give me a brief about what we're going to be getting into today.
Yeah, thanks, Jamie. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, so Empirical is a system for you to manage the technology in your classrooms and conference rooms and other meeting spaces. Allows you to have a single place to store all the information about rooms or buildings or assets, and then roll that up into forecasting costs so you can do budgeting more effectively for your refresh.
So this is a big lift.
There's a lot in here, that's true.
It is a big lift, and it's going to be worth the demo for listeners. One of the things that intrigued me was you're one of me. You're one of us. Give me a little bit of your background.
Thank you. Yeah, I came from Cornell University, where I was working for 22 years doing AV technology. I started out at the Language Resource Center, making cassette tapes for language pedagogy. And when I left there, I was the assistant director for video engineering and event services, and went through a lot of classroom technology experiences there. The pandemic, I think, was formative for me. Got to a situation where we were being asked to migrate all of our rooms to support hybrid learning that was socially distanced. And we didn't know how many rooms we had. We didn't know how old they were, what they did, what technology they had, how old the technology was. And so this product, Empirical, kind of comes out of that experience of wishing that I had a tool that I could use to organize all that information and collect all that information.
So you started putting this together, and is it just you, or do you have a team?
It's me. I have an advisory board as well, a couple of guys that have been with me the whole way, providing feedback and input. And then I've also got a couple developers that are working for me on the back end. But I've probably coded about 80% of the product myself. And just getting now to the point where we have something to show people. And actually, this is our debut, so this is our first time out showing off the product. Yeah.
No, and it's really... Initially, now it's grown. Initially, what was your goal? I mean, when you looked at it, because we all get this point, we're like, God damn it, I'm just going to do it on my own. What was it? It had to be smaller than what it is today. What was the initial goal?
The initial goal was asset management. I wanted a place where I could have all the information about my assets and collect the cost information, as well as the information about the rooms. Okay.
And now you have the hierarchical tree. It's Friday morning of InfoComm, folks. Understand it. And you've kind of added a neat import process to this that takes away some of the horrible nature of these products, which is data entry. Tell me a little bit about how that import of my existing information would work.
Yeah, we saw the import process as being crucial for the product to be successful, to be used, because if you're trying to key manually in the data, or if you have to go through some cumbersome CSV bulk import process, it becomes more work to get the data in than it's worth at a certain point. So we built a tool that uses judiciously a little bit of AI to parse the headers of your spreadsheet to figure out what is the data that you're bringing, what data models are these, and then it allows you to import that data, and it will recognize whether there's a conflict, and it'll flag that conflict for you. It'll recognize if it thinks something is similar but not quite the same, and you can say, yeah, no, that's actually the same thing. Baker Hall is Baker Laboratory, or maybe it's not. Maybe those are two different buildings, and you can break that off and create a new record. So the whole import tool is really structured to allow you to easily get your data in, but then to layer your data on top. So once you have, for instance, loaded in your assets for a room, you might have another spreadsheet that has those assets, but also their IP addresses. You can then take that spreadsheet and bring that in and layer those IP addresses into the database. So over time, you can start to build up a source of truth of all of your data from the various sources of information that we have, whether those files are sitting in your email or inbox or Drive or just in your head.
Well, And that was one of the things when you were showing me here in person. And again, folks, I encourage you to reach out and find a demo and talk to them a little bit more. But it was the data import. I also have the idea of asset tracking. What room, where's my stuff, maybe how old it is. You also layer in the other side. One of the things that like us middle management have is that we have to prove our worth. And we're always asked to forecast. Well, what's it going to cost? Or how many of those do you have? Or God forbid, there's a security thing and you got to change something, right? I also liked that part. You put in this where you have the forecasting dashboards. So walk me through a little bit of that part as well, because that is something that some of the others don't.
Yeah, the forecasting dashboards are pretty nifty. It allows you to look at, from a room perspective, what would my cost be to update a room, the whole entire system, forklift it, every 5 years over a certain horizon, say over a 12-year horizon or a 15-year horizon. It'll look at the costs and it'll add inflation and it'll add tariffs and it'll add other overheads and give you a number for the cash that you need to spend over that horizon to do that forklift. Or you could do more of a category-based approach where you're just replacing certain elements on their own refresh cycle. Maybe the laser projector, you let that live longer. That's maybe a 12-year life cycle. And then it'll compare and show you the cash outlay between those two scenarios. And you can adjust that and fine-tune it, and then save that for the room, and then apply that to other rooms if you want. And then there's a portfolio view where you can start to bring all these rooms into various fiscal years and build out a multi-year fiscal year budget. And again, you can add the overlays of inflation and other overheads on top of that. So it allows you to quickly create a multi-year forecast, but then keep that maintained. And if something new comes along, if some new cost comes along, you can quickly adjust your entire forecast portfolio.
And that takes up so much of a middle management's life, right? It's just, can you forecast this? Sure.
How much would it cost for us to take these 10 rooms and make them active learning rooms?
I don't know. Click, done.
Exactly.
So, and it's a graph because nobody wants to read the information. They just want a graph.
That's right. It's a graph, and you can just copy that right to your clipboard and paste it directly into PowerPoint.
That's awesome. On-prem, cloud. This
is cloud, and we're hosted on the web. We're at empirical-av.com.
Okay. It's not just for you. You've had a kind of a test bed. You've had some help outside of Cornell, right?
That's right.
Are you willing to name? Just say larger institutions if you wish.
I would say peer institutions to Cornell. We've been working with some large peer institutions, and the feedback has been very positive.
Yeah, so proof of concept is out there. It's not just fly by night. I mean, there's some very prestigious universities that have helped give you feedback and input on how to build the system, and
that's true. Yes.
That's part of this. Andy, again, thanks for giving me that few minutes. It's always nice to speak to one of us, a fellow higher ed person who's given this a go. One more time, how can folks get a hold of you? How can they get a demo? How can they find out more information? Because you got to see it. This isn't something we can talk about over audio. We have to see it. So how do they get that?
Yeah, anyone can reach out to me. I'm Andrew at empirical-av.com. That's empirical-av.com, or hit us up on the web.
Cool. Again, thanks a lot,
yeah.
And have a great show. And let's see if we can drive some business your way.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, that wraps up another episode of AV SuperFriends Perspectives. If you have a perspective to share, you can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV SuperFriends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients.